We are in 2023 and electric vehicles are not future things. It's right here between us. Many governments around the world have plans to ban gasoline cars in the next decade. Many companies like Tesla, Ford, Rivian and Nissan are coming up with their versions of electric vehicles. While on one side these companies are fighting over the precious metals used for creating lithium ion batteries, on the other side we hear the news about the accidents from electric cars and people are concerned about their safety. EVs are branded clean and environment safe, and it shows us the world that is free of pollution and emission from fossil fuels. But there is a lot more behind this tag of environment friendliness. In this video today, we'll talk about the electric vehicles and see the truth behind their clean image. What are these big automobile companies hiding from us? What are the challenges behind this EV race and how it can impact us? And finally, how far are we from the electric future? So, stick around. The first electric vehicles were developed in late 19th century, around the same time as the invention of the internal combustion engine. Early EVs were popular for their quiet operation and lack of emissions, and were well suited to the urban environments, where their limited range was not a significant disadvantage. However, with the increasing availability of petroleum and the development of the internal combustion engine, EVs gradually fell out of favor and were largely replaced by the gasoline-powered vehicles. The oil crisis of 1970s led to renewed interest in EVs, but the limited range and the performance of batteries at the time limited their widespread adoption. It wasn't until 21st century that advances in battery technology combined with concerns about climate change and oil security lead to a comeback of interest in EVs. Then in 2008, Elon Musk started a spark with the Tesla Roadster. Tesla showed to the world that with the right engineering and battery technology, electric cars are better than gasoline and cleaner for the environment. Today, EVs are once again becoming a popular choice for consumers, with a growing number of models available in the market and increasing investment in the charging infrastructure. The development of EVs continues to be driven by the need to transition to a more sustainable and low-carbon transportation future. We have been hearing about the climate change and global warming since our childhood, but the importance of these words have increased a lot in the last few years. People have started to understand that we only have one planet, and we need to save this planet to have a safe future for us and our generations to come. Today, every company and government tries to show themselves as climate friendly. But where do electric vehicles fit into this? Before answering this question, if you have enjoyed this video so far, please smash on the like button. And if you are interested to know more on the business stories, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell notification so that you never miss a new video from us. Thank you. The popularity of EVs is rising very fast in the world. There were around 7.8 million electric vehicles sold worldwide in 2022, which is a 68% increase from last year. Electric vehicles accounted for 10% of market share in 2022 and are predicted to double or even quadruple and become an $800 billion industry by 2030. But beside this growing demand, there are many environmental and humanitarian crises happening behind electric cars that everyone should know. When we see the main issue with the traditional gasoline cars, it is the combustion engine, which produces harmful levels of carbon. But if we see closely, the manufacturing process of electric cars has a more damaging impact on the environment. The emission of CO2 and greenhouse gases is much higher in the production of electric cars as compared to manufacturing a similar level of traditional car, with reports claiming EVs cost as much as 70% more carbon than a traditional car produced in the same factory and hurts the environment more than a traditional fossil fuel-based car. Now you might ask, EVs are supposed to lower carbon emission, then how come they produce these levels of carbon? Well, this is because the manufacturing of battery in electric cars needs the mining and refining of metals like nickel, cobalt and lithium, which cause greater emissions of carbon. A large percentage of these metals are found in countries like Australia, Chile, Congo and China. Extracting 1 ton of lithium creates about the same carbon dioxide as burning 15,000 pounds of coal. And in the future, we need much more of these minerals. Besides having a dire environmental effect, the manufacturing of electric cars also includes child labor and unfair treatment of workers in underdeveloped countries like Congo. There are many cases of people losing their lives every year. Many suffer permanent lung damage, skin infection, and life-changing injuries. Now the question is, if all this happens during the production of EVs, then why there is so much hype for electric cars? Well, this is because the electric cars have less carbon emissions after production, while gasoline cars continue making bigger carbon footprints, and after one point they surpass the overall carbon emissions of electric cars. But it will be completely wrong to brand EVs with no carbon emission tags and clean energy alternatives, because they are nowhere close to that. The safety of electric vehicles is a concern for both manufacturers and consumers. The first major concern in EVs is about the potential vulnerability to hacking. Hackers can gain control of vehicle system, including the brakes and steering, putting the occupants and other road users at risk. Also, EVs generate a large amount of data about the driver and their behavior, which could be vulnerable to hacking and exploitation by unauthorized parties. The charging infrastructure for EVs, including charging stations and payment systems, could also be vulnerable to hacking and other cyber attacks. Apart from hacking, the high voltage battery in EVs can also pose a risk of fire or explosion in the event of an accident or malfunction. In fact, the charging process for EVs can pose a risk of electric shock or fire if proper safety measures are not followed. Also, the lightweight construction of some EVs combined with the placement of heavy battery affect the vehicle's safety performance in a crash compared to a traditional vehicle. Another concern that is coming out these days is the electric systems in EVs generating electromagnetic interference, affecting other vehicles or electronic devices in close proximity. Recently, some EVs with self-driving caused accidents when the self-driving software malfunctioned and braked abruptly, slowing down the car. After a few incidents like this, the company is facing legal, regulatory, and public scrutiny. To address these safety concerns, EV manufacturers are subject to rigorous safety standards and testing, and are continually working to improve the safety of their vehicles. Additionally, it's important for EV owners to follow proper charging and maintenance procedures to ensure their vehicle safety. The demand for electric vehicles is increasing every year. Countries like China, Europe, and US are planning to completely ban the sales of gasoline vehicles by 2035. But still, there are many challenges for the mass adoption of electric vehicles. The first major concern is the limited resources like cobalt and nickel for lithium-ion batteries. We have seen the oil war between the countries for so long that now a dependency on one country for these metals can be very dangerous. And unfortunately, China is the winner here. China owns up to 50% of the metals production, including 80% of cobalt refining. In the last 15 years, Chinese companies have bought many North American and European companies that are mining in Congo. And Congo produces almost 70% of the total cobalt. Today, Chinese firms owns 15 out of the 19 industrial mines in Congo. And this dependency with limited resources can disrupt the supply chain of electric vehicles. Another challenge is the lack of widespread charging infrastructure. Currently, we don't have enough public charging stations available. Also, the home charging options are expensive and require a certified installation. And it creates a range anxiety among the consumers about the limited driving range of EVs and limits the appeal of EVs for long-distance driving. Also, despite recent reductions in battery prices, the cost of EVs remain higher than that of conventional vehicles. Even though it's true that the running cost of electric cars are lower than traditional cars, many people are still scared to spend upfront. Another challenge is the end-of-life disposal of lithium-ion batteries, because the recycling and disposal process of batteries is still in its early stages. And with growing demand, if batteries are not recycled properly, then we might run out of lithium completely by 2050. And that's why there is a need for investment in recycling facilities and technology to increase the volume of batteries that can be recycled and improve the overall efficiency of the process. Also, when we talk about these challenges, these are with the developed nations and countries like China only, but the transition might be more difficult in other developing nations. But despite all the challenges, the electric race is on. The US, Europe, Japan, and China are the major players, bringing real revolution in the almost dead and stagnant automobile industry. The next 2-3 decades will be interesting with many new players coming into the market. So, that's about electric vehicles today. Let us know what you think about EVs. Will EVs become another big thing in the next decade? Also, let us know if you own an electric car and your experience in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like it. If you are new here, please subscribe to our channel and help us grow. We are trying to bring more amazing business stories to you. Also, let us know what other business stories you would like to see. With that said, I shall catch you in the next one. Thank you and have a nice day.